My studio is blessed with beautiful fabric samples full of potential. Beautiful, rich textures that once dreamed of becoming someone's drapes or throw pillows. But instead of heading to the landfill, they ended up in my studio, waiting for their second act. They waited until one day my friend and fellow bookmaker Lee said something that sparked everything. Why don't you turn these into journal covers? So I gathered the essentials: fabric, foam board for the cover, paper for the pages, and a few trusty tools. Scissors, weld bond glue, and began to experiment. The first decision is to determine its size. I wanted a finished journal that measured 4 by 6 inches. That meant adjusting fabric, board, and paper sizes like nesting dolls, from the outer fabric to the inner pages. The cover fabric should be 1.5 inches longer and wider, 5.5 x 7.5. But don't cut your fabric out just yet. I will explain why in a few seconds. Then the book cover, 4 by 6. The signature pages need to measure 1/2 inch shorter and wider than the cover, 3.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Then the pages need to measure 1/2 inch shorter and wider than the signature cover, 3 by 5. Estimating that 6 signatures, back to back, would measure 1.5 inches. One needs to add 1.5 more inches to the width of the cover fabric in order to accommodate for the width of the spine. With your fabric right side down and the wrong side facing you, find and mark the center of your fabric. Then measure out from the center 3/4 of an inch on either side. This is where the spine of the book will fit within. Apply an even coat of glue to your book board and align the edge of the board with the edge mark for the spine, making sure to center your book board on the remaining 3 sides. Use your hands to push down and out to ensure that there are no air bubbles and that glue is evenly distributed. Repeat for the other side. Use your scissors to cut the fabric diagonally 1/4 inch away from the book corners. This is necessary to remove bulky fabric and ensure a clean, finished corner. Now, apply a bead of glue along the upper edge of the book boards that spans from side to side. Use a brush to smooth out the glue over the fabric. Then pull the fabric tightly and fold it over the book covers, including the gap where the book bindings will eventually fit in. Press the fabric down evenly and out to spread the glue evenly and remove all air bubbles. Repeat this process at the bottom of the book. The process is the same for the sides, but here one must be extra careful that the fabrics line up neatly, without gaps at the corners. One should press down on the very edge of the top fabric against the edge of the book board to create a tiny crease. Then align the side fabric to meet with the top corner nicely. If one chooses to decorate the corners of the book as I did, this is the time to do it. First, glue your decoration to the front cover of the book. Then fold it over to the inside cover and glue it down neatly. Next, you will use one of your signature's cover pages and glue it to the front cover. If one chooses for the book to have a strap in order for it to be held closed when not in use, the strap must be positioned on the back cover in the desired location, usually centered and glued down. Then the back signature page is glued down to the back cover. Now it is time to create the signatures. Take a signature cover paper and fold it in half, carefully aligning the edges. Holding the edges aligned together with one hand. Use the index finger of the other hand. Press it down the middle of the page and slide it towards the fold line. Then up along the fold line, then down to create a sharp crease. The same process is used to fold the pages I clip into place to avoid shifting. Insert them into the signature cover and centered. I used my sewing machine to bind them. Now comes the moment of truth. I glued the first signature to the back of the front cover, ensuring that the glue was 1/4 away from the spine of the signature. I repeated the procedure for each signature until all 6 signatures were glued together. Lastly, I glued the back of the 6th signature to the back of the back cover, completing the creation of the book. If the gap in the spine had been too wide or too narrow, I would have just adjusted the number of signatures to fit inside the gap. A journal should feel like an invitation to write, to dream, to remember. So I added lace applique, a handmade medallion, and for a little extra sparkle, one faux jewel. 'Cause why not? What started as scrap is now a story waiting to be written. This little book holds more than paper. It holds possibility. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. If you've got a pile of forgotten fabric samples just waiting to be turned into something beautiful, Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What would your journal look like?